All right, that's the fun stuff. This isn't. The suspected gunman accused of live streaming a deadly shooting spree in Memphis is in police custody this morning after a day-long manhunt.
The rampage comes just days after police found the body of billionaire heiress and missing mom Eliza Fletcher, and as they hunt for another kidnapping suspect.
That's right. Griff Jenkins, who knows Memphis very well, is here to give us all the details on this Thursday morning. Griff.
Yeah, good morning, Steve, Carly, and Brian. Look, it's been a terrifying 24 hours as Memphians were told to shelter in place across the city as 19-year-old Ezekiel Kelly carried out these serial shootings that left 4 dead and 3 injured across 8 crime scenes. It ended in a high-speed crash after he crashed the car that he had carjacked. And the worst part of it all, he should have been behind bars, not out on the street carrying out this violent rampage. Now, here's what we know about Kelly's past. In 2020, he was charged with first-degree attempted murder, aggravated assault, employment of a firearm with intent to commit a dangerous felony, and reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon. He was sentenced to 3 years, but only served 11 months after his attempted murder charge was downgraded to aggravated assault, and he was released in March of this year. Memphis Mayor Jim Strickland had this reaction.
If Mr. Kelly served his full 3-year sentence, he would still be in prison today, and 4 of our fellow citizens would still be alive.
This just a day after the discovery of the body of Memphis mother and heiress Eliza Fletcher. Suspect Cleotha Henderson due back in court today facing first-degree murder charges. He, like Kelly, had a long rap sheet. Look here. Between 1995 and 2000, arrested 16 times. Age 11, arrested for theft. Age 14, convicted of rape. Age 16, abducted a lawyer at gunpoint and served 20 years of a 24-year kidnapping sentence. Meanwhile, tomorrow morning at 4 a.m., fellow runners of Eliza will meet to run in her honor as they remember the kind mother and teacher that she was.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
And as you mentioned, Carly, police are still looking for a second suspect in the kidnapping of a mother and her one-year-old young son outside of a Target store. Now, the one suspect you're looking at here, Will Hayes, he's in custody. The other accomplice they're looking for is at large. The mother and 1-year-old were released. But I can't stress enough, Steve, Carly, and Brian, how much this has this city, a sleeping city down on the Mississippi River in the south, as it on edge. People are reaching out to me left and right saying they're terrified. They've never seen anything like this.
Right, and the thing about it, and you know, there's been a spate of murders in Memphis of late and the kidnapping, which we've been profiling over the last couple of days. But Griff, it seems like this guy who's now in custody, 19-year-old Ezekiel Kelly, it seems like he did just some random things in the beginning. Didn't really get a lot of attention for his crime spree where he wound up, you know, as you said, 8 separate shootings, 4 dead, 3 injured. Didn't really get a lot of attention until suddenly somebody called the cops around 6 o'clock last night and said, hey, there's a guy live streaming on Facebook from the AutoZone, and he says he's going to kill people.
And, you know, let me just tell you also in the hearing when Cleotha Henderson is back in court, I have a handful of friends that are concerned about this that will be in court again today. They were there yesterday and the day before because they're upset about the fact that these criminals keep getting out. Let me just read to you. A friend who I knew well in high school sent me this, saying, Griff, how many people do you know that can say my friend's niece, that's Eliza, was abducted while jogging and murdered? My neighbor's son was murdered. My son's best friend was held up at gunpoint in his own driveway. A mom from our school was followed home and raped in her own home in front of her son. And I can't even tell you how many carjackings have happened to friends I know. This is not Chicago. This is not New York. This is a small bluff city where the Memphians have much pride. We have the best barbecue, as we brought to you guys on Cooking with Friends, Rendezvous Ribs, and we're the home of Elvis and B.B. King and Beale Street. This just doesn't happen there.
But
and
Griff,
right now, they feel the officials are not doing enough.
Don't they have a problem hiring cops?
Well, it's widespread. the complaints. It's not just the policing, and you see Memphis police trying to take a proactive approach to this, but it's also the sentencing. They want this thing called truth in sentencing, which is to hold criminals accountable and hold them in jail for the crimes they committed. Not in the case of Ezekiel Kelly, who had his murder charge downgraded to aggravated assault, and that is why he was able to be out for 24 hours live streaming this rampage.
Absolutely right. All right, Griff, thanks very much. Because it was in 2020, he was charged with first-degree murder and reckless endangerment. He was sentenced to 3 years, but he only served 11 months. And the mayor's absolutely right. Had that guy been serving the full sentence, and we don't know why he was released early, probably because he was younger. And there are a lot of cities that are soft on crime, but that guy would not have been out on the street to commit this string of carjackings. And we need to point out, he not only murdered people, but Griff just mentioned the carjackings. I think he carjacked 3 or 4 different cars, and he killed a couple of people, and he walked up to somebody who's just sitting in a car and murdered them in their car.
And in 2020, he was 17 years old. He was charged as an adult for, like you said, attempted murder. Even if he was given the full, even if he served the full 3 years, I still think that's a slap on the wrist.
Attempted murder.
But the mayor is right when he says that if he was still behind bars, none of this would have happened. And that's exactly what repeat story with the mom, Eliza Fletcher, who the suspect there was sentenced to 20 years in prison, or 24 years in prison, served 20 years, got out in the year 2020, and if he was still behind bars, and he could have been if he served his full time, she would still be alive.
Yeah,
today.
they don't want to get along in society. They want to destroy society. They deserve to be locked up. We got to stop giving people that don't even want a second chance, because they use it as a chance to commit more crimes and ruin more lives. Senator Tom Cotton sees this pattern.
It's another horrifying string of crimes in Memphis. The people of Memphis deserve much better than what they've gotten from their city government in just the last few days. You've seen these crimes. So that's reflective of crime going back in Memphis for a long time. It's reflective of crime in big cities across America. We got to this point in part because of failures of the left across America to treat criminals as the criminals they are. Killers like the one we see tonight are depraved sociopaths. They need to be locked up or they need to be executed. That's the way to keep our citizens safe from these criminals.
And this has got to be a major political issue. If you don't bring this up and you're running for any significant office, that is criminal. Number two, I think the other thing to follow up on is the fact that this guy, when he was in the police car, there's pictures of him smiling. He was having a great time. You understand, there's people in this world that don't warrant sympathy and empathy. That is one of them. And you got to start judging these criminals by your standards. Look at that shot. He would have killed more had he not been.
Live streamed it on Facebook. He was bragging about it on Facebook. I mean, we're clearly dealing with a very sick individual who yesterday spent an entire day murdering people. This is really a huge and horrifying situation because he paralyzed an entire city. Not at all. The public bus service was suspended. A minor league baseball stadium with a game underway was placed on lockdown. There are 2 college campuses in the area, University of Memphis and Rhodes College, both placed on lockdown. And like you said, he recorded it all on Facebook. Now his Facebook profile apparently has been removed, but there's some reporting that there was already violent posts on it concerning things that he was saying. And so many times when these crimes happened, they are so predictable.
Right, but this guy had a violent criminal past. And what's different about him is, and murders sadly happen every day. What happened yesterday in Memphis happens all across the country when it comes to carjackings and murders and people getting held up at ATMs and stuff like that. But what's different about this, and maybe it explains why the guy's smiling, I mean, he live streamed it, as you pointed out. He wasn't just going to commit, robberies and carjackings. It was essentially performance. He showed people on Facebook what he was doing. And while he was live streaming, and we don't have the live stream, I'll just tell you that. While he was live streaming the attack, he can be seen getting out of the car, then walking a few steps into the auto zone. He pulled out a gun, fired at a man inside the shop twice. But just before he walked into the store, he's looking at the camera and he's saying, this is no faking. This is real blank. This is gonna be real. And somebody apparently in the Memphis area, was watching and called the cops, and they were able to identify him generally and identify the car which gave chase. Then he got out of that car, carjacked another car, a Dodge Challenger, and that's the one he wound up crashing into something when the cops were chasing
I know.
him.
And can I just say, this whole crime spree started, apparently, there's some reporting that it started at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So almost Tuesday. And then the first time that police issued a public service alert was at 6 p.m. after that person saw the live stream on
Right.
Facebook. And I'm wondering why it took police so long to connect the dots. It could be because there is so much violent crime
Right.
going on in Memphis right now that
just-
they didn't realize. It's just another Wednesday. They didn't realize that all of these crimes were connected.
Not enough cops, not enough follow-up, and there's no punishment. So cops aren't motivated to arrest somebody that's going to be out shortly again. Put their lives on the line dealing with that mutant. You got to be kidding me. So that's sadly was something we're going to be reporting a little bit later on. Story in the New York Post today, a woman with a machete just whacking a guy in the head, fractured his skull, and they go, yeah, we arrested her a few days ago with the same machete.
Yeah.
Gets out again. Doesn't even spend a minute in jail.
Yeah, and there is a cop shortage in Memphis, and crime is up over 7% this year from the year 2020, and people are feeling it, and we're seeing it unfold horrifyingly before our very eyes.
All right, meanwhile,
Across
straight
the
ahead.
country.